but he is one of the best and brightest young actors on the planet. He is the star of films. You're way ahead of me, aren't you? He's the star of films like The Impossible, Cherry, Captain America, Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, and now, the eagerly anticipated Uncharted. Please welcome Tom Holland! Oh my word. Tom, sit in the middle chair. You're like a water.
Evening, everyone. Hello. Hi.
Oh. They put
How's
the
it
water
going?
just out of reach, which is really annoying. Scoot forward and get the water. How are you?
Everyone.
Does that happen everywhere you go now?
Almost, yeah. It's strange.
Like you just go into your local shop and it's like, Tom Holland is here!
I'm like, shut up!
They will know. How are you, man? You good?
I'm good, yeah, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm very good. I am very, very good indeed. Thank you for doing this, because things must be pretty hectic for you right now. Not just with having one of the biggest movies of all time, but Uncharted is out next week. What are the nerves like at this point? You're 6 days out from release. It's out of your hands at this point.
Firstly, let me just say, I need to start reading my schedule, because I was told that this was a podcast. So I know that you're surprised to see me, but trust me, I'm far more surprised to see you.
So this is...
I was backstage like, who are all those people? But yeah, we're 6 days out. It's always an exciting time. You know, we work our hardest to make these films what they are. And, you know, you are the people that we make these films for. We want you guys to be able to escape, to enjoy the cinema-going experience, and to see something you haven't seen before. And Uncharted, you know, while it is paying respects to some of my favorite movies, you know, the Mission Impossibles, the Indiana Joneses, the James Bonds of the world, it does have a certain quality to it that is incredibly unique. So for me, I'm 6 days out, and I'm counting down the days. I've made films before where I'm like, can we just keep pushing it until you just put it in the bin? So I'm incredibly excited. I'm very proud of the movie. Mark Wahlberg and I have had a wonderful time making this movie, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we did making it.
Well, can I just say something? I've never played the game. But I don't have a PlayStation. Don't judge me. But it made me want to play the game. Now, can you lend me 500 quid so I can buy a PlayStation, first of all? But what was your relationship like with the game before you signed on to this?
It's an interesting story, actually. I was playing Uncharted 4 while we were shooting the sequence in Spider-Man Homecoming where I fall through the elevator shaft.
Okay, yeah.
Which is a great way to start a story.
None of my stories start like that, by the way.
But yeah, so we were on set, and, you know, naturally with those sort of heavy stunt action sequences, it takes a long time for lighting setups or for stunt, you know, rigs to be made safe and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, sometimes, you know, you can have 2 to 3 hours in your trailer waiting for people to, you know, finish tinkering with things. So naturally, obviously working for Sony, one of the luxuries are that we don't have to spend £500 on a PlayStation because they give us one. So yeah, we had a PlayStation and we started playing Uncharted 4. And I remember sitting there, I was with my best mate Harrison and...
Ford?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is new information.
Yeah. Harrison Osterfield, my mate from school, and he came out to Atlanta with me to work with me on Spider-Man 1. And I remember sitting there with him saying, wow, this would make an amazing movie. You know, because the game, I don't know if anyone in here has played the games, but they are so cinematic, and the story is so compelling. So, you know, we're playing the games, and I'm thinking, wow, this would make an amazing film. I look up who has the rights. Obviously, Sony have the rights. Fantastic. But Ryan Reynolds is attached to play Nate.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, brilliant. I'll let that one go. And then I came up with an idea for a young Bond film, essentially like an origin story to what James Bond is.
Yeah.
I pitched it to Sony. I sat down with Tom Rothman and sort of pitched him the idea, and he really liked the idea. And it's no secret that Uncharted is a film that they have been trying to make for a very long time.
A long time.
You know, Mark Wahlberg at one point was going to play Nate.
Yeah.
And then he got old, and now he's playing Sully. So and Tom sort of said, like, right, brilliant, well, let's do this. Let's cast you as Nate. And, you know, I think taking over from Ryan Reynolds is the highest form of flattery. I mean, he's as handsome as it gets. So then they cast me in the film, and we went through a huge prep process of finding the right director and working on the script and developing the actual film and the aesthetic of what it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And then we got to set for the first day of shooting after sort of 5 years' work, and we got shut down because of COVID. Yeah, which was actually a blessing in disguise, because I showed up to work and Mark was like 3 times the size of me. He's so massive. I looked like his 12-year-old son. So I took the sort of 5-month break to just eat and train every day, and put on as much weight as I could, which was good. I actually really enjoyed it.
Were you worried in case, you know, it just went all horribly wrong and you didn't put any muscle on? That was it. There's no movie at that point.
Yeah, I would have got my Spider-Man muscle suit out. I would have called Sony and be like, send me the muscle suit.
But they can do so much stuff with CG these days now, Tom. It'd be fine.
Yeah, they can. They take out all my acne. They do what's called a beauty pass. I went to go and see Spider-Man way before it was finished, and one of my biggest notes was like, can you please fix my skin? Like, because we were shooting and we were tired, and when I get tired, you know, I eat unhealthily and stuff like that, and my acne comes back and all that sort of stuff. So they do a beauty pass. So we don't look like that in real life, guys.
That kind of works when you're playing a 17-year-old, right? Just leave it in. I'd say put more acne in, if anything.
It's true, it's just continuity. I get so much of this stuff. Like, I'll have spots bouncing over my face from different shots.
So, Uncharted, I'm a sucker for movies where people have to find the thing that tells them the way to get the what's-it, that unlocks the doohickey.
Right.
So I love all that stuff. That's amazing.
Me too.
And that must have been a tremendous, like, you're just in catacombs, constantly in catacombs. I would love that shit.
Oh, I mean, mate, me too. Indiana Jones, those kind of films were my favorite films growing up as a kid. But it's a lot of fun. It's also incredibly frustrating. It's great to play the puzzles on the game, but to come up with the puzzles is really difficult. There's a huge sequence in this movie where Nate essentially has the final clue. He understands what it is he needs to do. He just needs to figure out how to utilize this clue. And it's to do with a map and these crosses and all this different stuff. And what was written in the script was like, there was an X on the map.
Right.
And I was like, guys, it's like $5 billion worth of treasure. It was lost 500 years ago. They can't just put an X marks the spot will not be in this movie.
Yeah.
And we had to come up with the idea of how to discover the gold. And it was a lot of fun, but it took weeks and weeks and weeks, and we were pushing the scene back and pushing it back. And obviously, when you make these films, they build sets, and they want to strike them as quickly as possible, because it costs money to rent the stages. And Sony was so angry at us, because we were like, we can't break this set down, because we haven't figured out the end of the movie. But eventually we figured it out. And it's a sequence that I'm very proud of, because it's very exciting to watch.
So the film is based around their relationship between Nate and Sully, and this is the early years. So Sully hasn't got his tash at this point. I may not play the game, but I know Sully has a tash. Don't judge me. So again, it must have been fun doing that with Mark and filling in the details of that relationship, the banter, finding the chemistry.
I mean, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think this film, the relationship between Nate and Sully, is really the heart and soul of the film. And, there is nothing worse as an actor than forcing chemistry. Like, if you're doing a scene with someone that you really don't like, but you have to pretend like you're busy mates, it is really difficult. And I think audiences can sense it.
So that's happened to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Anthony Mackie? Yeah. What a dick. But yeah, no, so I was lucky that Mark and I got on really well, and we were able to just have fun. Ruben is our director. He's an amazing collaborator, so he really gave us the time to enjoy the space and to work with each other and make mistakes. I often find with these films, the best ideas come from the worst mistake. So Ruben is the best director in that sense. He allows us to have the freedom to play, take the piss out of each other. And I think a lot of our kind of back and forth banter off camera is what sort of made its way into the film. You know, we're both very competitive, so it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, but we were pushing each other's buttons where we could.
Okay, so I've got a bone to pick with Tom Holland.
Oh, no.
Last time I spoke to you, Tom, was for the Empire magazine cover feature for a little film I like to call Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, you were great. Yeah, you gave me the good shit.
Yeah, okay.
But I looked you directly in the eye over Zoom, and I said, Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, are they in this movie? And you said, you lying fucker. You said, no, they're not. Come on, Tom. What's happening?
Sony would have killed me.
You can see.
Sony would have killed me.
You could have given me a nod. You could have gone, no.
Yeah.
And then an exaggerated wink or something. I don't know.
I remember sitting down with one of the people that make the trailers, and he was trying to say that, you know, when there was that Brazilian trailer where Andrew's Spider-Man hit the goblin, the lizard.
Yeah.
He was like, you know, we left that in there on purpose. I was like, no, you didn't, you lying bastard. You just missed it. And it was a great, like, he was trying to take credit for the most genius piece of marketing ever, and it was a complete accident. Yeah.
All right, okay, I'll accept that. That's fine. You know, it's all part of the great
I'm sorry,
game.
I had to maintain the magic.
No, it's fine. Hey, tell you what, you did say something. I said to you as well, Sinister Six in this movie, yes or no? You said no, and that was true.
Right.
So well done. There you go, Tom Holland.
Thank you.
Purveyor of truth. But it was weird. It was one of those weird little dances because you knew that they were in the movie.
Sure.
I kind of knew they were in the movie.
Sure.
But we couldn't actually say that sort of stuff. So how difficult is it to keep that stuff stumm? I know you haven't had the best track record in that area.
Yeah.
But this is proper next
Thanks
level
for bringing
secrecy.
that up.
It's fine, we're moving past it.
It's tough. It is really tough. And I think now that I've managed to keep arguably the biggest secret in cinematic history a secret, we can move on from the fact that I spoil everything. It's so funny. Every time you sit down with the journalists, they're like, so you like to spoil things, do you? I'm like, dick. But yeah, it was tough. But you know why it was tough? It's like, I'm a very honest person.
Yeah.
You know, I'm honest with my friends. I'm honest with the people that I'm surrounded by. But the only people I can't be honest with is the rest of the world. So I literally was lying every single day for 2 months. And it really weighs on you. Lying it's not good.
It corrodes the soul. So
It does.
Well, next time, if I ask something like that, you have to look me in the eye. Even if you're telling me a porky pie, you have
Right.
to do the wink. Okay?
Right, okay, I'll try my best.
All right, because in print,
I've got something
that
in
doesn't
my
come
eye
across.
kind
Yeah.
of thing. Okay.
Said Holland, winking conspicuously. That doesn't really work like that in print, so it's fine. It's all good. But I've just got to ask really quickly because, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home blew my socks off whenever I saw it. And those moments with Tobey and Andrew, I know you've talked about this a little bit,
Sure.
but that must have been extraordinary. The first time the three of you were on set. I mean, Jesus Christ. There's not even a question
Yeah.
there. It's just me saying something at the end going, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. No, it was mental. Honestly, mate, like, I was petrified when they were coming in. Because, you know, when you play Spider-Man for so long, there's only 3 people to have done it on the big screen. And you have a sense of ownership of the character. He feels like a part of you. And I was worried that, you know, these other 2 actors who have equal ownership to this character were going to come in and kind of try and shake up the system. And we had a really good thing going. And I'm delighted to say that they came in and all they wanted to do was elevate the movie. They had certain things that they wanted to try and hit with their characters. You know, I know Andrew was very keen to sort of get a point across throughout the film, which I really think he did, which I'm very proud of him for. But like all the acting and all of that aside, it was so fun. It was so fun because, you know, like I said, being Spider-Man can be quite alienating. You know, it's quite a strange experience. So to have 2 other people that you can share that experience with and talk to who are the only people that really understand some of the problems that you have was an incredible experience for me. And they were like my big brothers. We really were like a brotherhood. The scene in the film when we say goodbye to each other, that is based off of something that actually happened naturally on set. We were shooting the scene on the roof where they come to see me after May's death. And if you haven't seen it, that's your fault. So, fuck off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I just remember looking at them up there. Oh, it's a late night audience, right? Well, we've been swearing all the time.
Oh, yeah. The cat's out the fucking bag with that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember, so, you shoot these big films and, rather than on a smaller film, a scene can take an afternoon to shoot. On a big film, it can take 3 days to shoot. Just because, rather than having like cross coverage, you've got 2 camera cranes working in tandem with each other, and it takes a while for them to get set up. So I'm shooting this crying scene on the roof. You've all seen it, and if you haven't, what are you doing? And I was crying for like 2 days straight. Just constantly crying. And it was fine, I was getting it done. But it got to the point where we were going to shoot my close-up, and I was sort of struggling to get there. And one of the ways I cry on set is I think about how happy I am and how lucky I am. And sometimes that kind of emotion spurs on tears. So I just went up to Toby and Andrew and sort of like, I had them like this. And I sort of said, guys, thank you so much for being here, for participating, for being so welcoming and kind and loving. And as I was talking, I was like, and I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here. And Andrew started crying, and Toby started crying, and then we were hugging, and all the writers were like, yeah, that's how it's gonna be, brilliant. So it was fun, it was a good time, and Andrew can take his hands off. Hang on, let me explain that better. That makes no sense. Hang on.
This is new
One of the
information.
hardest things about wearing the Spider-Man suit is not being able to use your fingers. Because you can't use your phone, because the gloves aren't like touchscreen sensitive.
Yeah.
So I have got so good at using my nose. And I was on set, and we were sort of talking about the problems, like, isn't that so annoying? And then Andrew just went, zip, and pulled both of his hands out. Honestly, I was furious. I was like, the cheek, you've come to my set.
With your hands. Unbelievable. We're out of time, but I do want to ask just one last thing. I don't worry, there are more people coming. It's fine. Tom's got to go.
Tough act to follow, though, I know.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing I like about you, Tom. You lack confidence. If you can get confidence, honestly, the sky's the limit for you.
Cheeky little shit.
Takes one to know one. Very quickly, the scene where you and the other Peters point at each other.
Yes.
Did you have to explain that to Tobey Maguire because he's ancient?
Oh, T. McG. No, he knew what that was. That was actually Andrew's idea.
Okay.
To do that. There's multiple points in the film. I think there's 2, but we shot like 5 of them. Just because at any given moment we'd all be like, you see what we did there? But no, it was, honestly, mate, like, that film for me will forever be one of the highlights of my career. Like, from everything, from the people that have been on every single Spider-Man film with me, to my friends and family who have been on this roller coaster from the beginning, to sharing it with Toby and Andrew, to, breaking all of these records, which we owe you guys for. That's your part, and you've done it so well. Thank you. I don't think there will ever be anything quite like it again. And I'm delighted and honored to have been a part of it, and it's been the most rewarding and wonderful experience. And to share it with Toby and Andrew at the end was just amazing.
I would love to be the one guy in this room who hasn't seen it.
Is there anyone that hasn't seen it? Yes!
We need to have a talk about Aunt May. But we'll do that after Tom leaves. He is indeed a hard act to follow. Uncharted is out next week. Will you please give it up once again for the incredible Tom Holland?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Amazing!